choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
I'm...
Season's greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to another exciting edition of the interview series we have for you here at Nerd Culture. I am your host, Ryan, and joining us this week is comic book writer and illustrator Sean Forney is here with us. Sean, how are you?
Doing pretty well. How about you?
Doing well. Thank you very much for being with us. Now, if you have any questions for our guest, Sean, tonight, please feel free to leave them in the live chat in the comments section. Our producers are going to be monitoring that as we go throughout the course of the show. So whether you're watching us live or if you're watching the replay, thank you very much for being with us. We hope you are enjoying the holiday season despite the unfortunate pandemic. It's tough stuff out there. But anyway, Sean, first things first, how were you introduced to the wide world known as comics?
I think I was probably about, I want to say like 4 or 5, something like that. As a kid, before kindergarten, had the luxury of if something was going on and needed to go somewhere, if my parents had something to do or whatnot, I could usually go to work with my dad. So he wanted something to keep me occupied. Well, taking me to work with him, stop at the corner drugstore, and got introduced to the comic books on the old spinner rack. And it was just like the corner drugstore had a small assortment of Marvel, DC titles, whatnot. And the first book I ever picked up was a Marvel Comics Presents Spider-Man issue that, prior to seeing a comic book, I had been watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends on Saturday morning cartoons. And, it's like, oh, hey, I can, read more adventures than this. So, that was what got me introduced to the whole thing.
Well, that is truly amazing, no pun intended. Who were some of your favorite comic book writers or artists growing up?
So a favorite artist growing up, I think the first artist I really took notice of and paid attention to was Jim Lee. I picked up his run when he started X-Men with Chris Claremont when they did the launch of what they call it, the adjectiveless X-Men book when it was just X-Men. He was the guy that I first paid attention to, and a little bit later on, got hooked on guys like Joe Madureira, Michael Turner, and in a sense gone back and kind of discovered a bunch of different folks, from there. But those were kind of the mainstays growing up and through junior high school stuff.
All right, some excellent choices there. What were some of your favorite comic book movies or TV series?
Of all time, or
yeah, okay. Sure, all time or what have you. Go right ahead, have fun with it.
So it was in your preview thing there as the show starts up. Batman. I mean, as a kid, getting to see that in the theater for the first time. Because prior to that movie, my experience of Batman was the Adam West TV show. So that was one of the things that early on hooked me. That came out in '89, so I think I was in first grade when that came out. So it's all that stuff just hooked me immediately. And then the Sam Raimi Spider-Man came out. I think I saw that thing in the theater probably at least 6 times. That was probably the movie I've seen the most in theaters. Because I've always been a big Spider-Man. Like I said, obviously that was the first book I got attached to, so that's always stuck with me. And then just all the MCU stuff that's come out, I eat up every one of them. If I had to pick a favorite, that's too tough to try to figure out which one's a favorite out of all 21, 22 films, whatever it's been now.
Yeah, I think they're up to 24 or 25 if you count Black Widow, which hasn't come out yet, but
okay.
Yeah, so nice round number, 24, 25, I believe.
Yeah.
So there you go, MCU. They just keep rolling them out, and boy, do they have plans for the future and everything else that's moving forward. But anyway, that's a story for another day entirely. Now, when did you decide to become an artist or writer?
I was I want to say like 7th, 8th grade, something like that in junior high. I'd always been into drawing since I was a little kid, and when I first picked up comic books, that kind of gave me something to draw when I was sitting doodling with crayons and stuff as a kid. So sometime 7th, 8th grade area, picked up a Wizard magazine that had an interview with Joe Madureira, and it talked about how he broke into the industry, and I saw some articles shortly thereafter of here's how you break in, here's how you put your portfolio together, all those kind of things. And that's when the light bulb went off, and it's like, oh, I can actually make a living doing this. How do I do this? Here's some of the information. And that just kind of took off for me, and I pursued it from there, and just kind of ran with it and figured out, okay, how do I dive into this and make this work?
All right. Nice one. And what would you say are some of the rewards of being an artist or writer?
Quite a few things. Say one of the bigger things I like really get out of it is the interaction I get to see when I'm at a convention, and get to meet somebody that's a fan or whatever, and just getting that interaction of getting to talk and somebody enjoying something I did, because it's like first and foremost, when I'm doing any of this stuff, it's kind of my enjoyment, because I get to get the thoughts out of my head, put them on paper, and then to see that reaction of somebody else getting to enjoy it, getting something out of it that I thought, who the heck's going to pay attention to this thing? And getting to see that somebody else really actually does care what I'm doing and all that. So that, is probably one of the biggest bonuses of doing all this. And all the stuff that comes along with that just adds to it. Getting to travel around to all the different conventions, see all these places, meet and see a bunch of different people. Just all kind of rolls into one giant snowball as everything starts going, and doing this stuff, traveling around. It's just, it's enjoyable, even though that there's a ton of work involved. There's enjoyment like each step of the way.
Mm-hmm. And on the other side of that, what would you say are some of the challenges of being an artist or writer?
Biggest challenge is always trying to meet those deadlines with, trying to find time to make everything fit into like a daily schedule. And, more often than not, always trying to like stretch the day out and go, I can spend maybe just another hour trying to get this page done or this cover done. Just to, make sure the deadline's hit, or, whatever the case may be, to make sure something's done on time. That's usually my biggest struggle, is just trying to keep everything towards manageable time-wise, so that maybe I can have a little, me time. Just the other kind of struggles of, I think what any artist, writer, what have you, would feel of, being in the studio, and there's definitely a lot of me time where you're working and you don't see the outside world. But it all comes with the territory, and the positives definitely can outweigh all the the handful of negative things that'll come up with the stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And by the way, just to remind our audience, if you have any questions for Sean Forney, please feel free to leave them in the live chat in the comments. We're going to be taking those towards the end of the show, so feel free to do so as we continue to roll along here. Now, Sean, do you have any special memories from conventions or other events that you have attended?
Oh, I definitely have tons of them.
Well, if you want to share a few, feel free.
All right, so let's see. I'm trying to pick some, and then try to pick some that hopefully makes sense to everybody else, because I think I've been doing the whole convention thing since like 2004 now. So it's been a while, and I've had all sorts of great experiences, like getting to meet like some of my favorite artists and whatnot. I'd say probably one of the more memorable experiences was after a con. It was just kind of a funny happenstance. We were at the bar hanging out with a bunch of different friends. We were at the con hotel type thing, hanging out, and go up to the bar to get a drink, and typical after con crowd there, and it's busy, what have you. And the waitress finally comes over, and all of a sudden I've got somebody standing next to me that kind of was like, "Oh, geez, is this the line for the bar?" I look over and I was like, "Yeah." It's like, and I kind of did a double take and realized it's Eric Estrada standing next to me asking about the the line at the bar. Oh, and I was like, "Dude," I was like, "You just getting a drink?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Well, apparently we're up next." So I was like, "Just tell her what you want and figure it out afterwards here." And so the lady comes over and starts taking our order, and I was like, "Dude, just go ahead, tell her what you want." He was like, "I think you ordered something simple like a rum and Coke, whatever." And the gal comes back, and mind you, we had bought drinks for like our 4 or 5 friends that were hanging out with us, and he just looks at the waitress, the bartender, and just like, "Put it all on my bill." It's like we were just like, both my wife and I were just stunned, just staring back at him, going like, "Thank you, that's amazing." It's like, dude just decided to buy us all drinks because we were trying to be nice, so that because all he wanted to do was get his drink, go back up to his room, and just cash out. And so we ended up seeing him the rest of the weekend. And one of our buddies that was with us, his mom had a huge crush on Eric Estrada, so he came over and took some photos with her and all this kind of craziness. So it's just a fun weekend of something that was just kind of silly, of trying to help somebody out so they could get out of the the situation of standing at the bar. And he was nice as could be about it, and gave us plenty of fun stories for later on. So that's one of the big, more memorable ones that I've had. But I've I don't know. There's, like I said, I've gotten to meet, interact with a bunch of like favorite artists over the years. I've oh yeah. So I think this was our second Wizard World Chicago back in 2005. I want to say, maybe 2006. The con had closed up. It was Sunday. We were getting ready to head home, and we've got all our luggage packed up. And it's typical traveling to a con. We've got more stuff than we should probably be trying to carry. And we get on the elevator to get to the parking garage. Elevator doors, open up, trying to lug all of our crap out. And what do you know? Michael Turner's standing there on the other side of the elevator door waiting to get in. We're trying to get all the crap out. My bag gets stuck in the little tiny gap between the elevator and the floor. Dude, and I know at the time he was dealing with all this stuff with cancer and whatnot, was in a ton of pain, actually stops the elevator door, comes over, helps me, grabs the stupid case out of there, helps me out. And then just, I said, thanks, whatever, gets on the hook, or gets on the elevator, rides it to wherever he's going. And, that was it. It's just, dude was just trying to be nice to help somebody out. And it's just like, wow, it's like, he's got a ton of struggles going on, but he was nice enough to stop and help us get out of there and whatnot. So it's like that's kind of the like epitome of what kind of the con family or whatever kind of seems to feel like. It's like everybody will usually try to help out in situations like that. And it's I'm sure there's a couple bad apples that would be rude about it or whatever, but it seems like anytime we're at a con and something like that's happening, there's usually, several folks that are ready, willing, and able to help. So it's always creates a, nice atmosphere when you're dealing with all that kind of junk.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I've had friends of mine tell me similar stories to where a celebrity helped them out during they were trying to either get out of an elevator, get through a door, or something was happening with a medical emergency, that kind of thing. So in a way, my friends can relate to certain stories that you're telling us, and that's incredible. The people that you've met and some of those stories you're sharing with us, we do. What am I trying to say? We do appreciate it. Now, do you have any writers or artists that you hope to work with down the line?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's all sorts. Let's see. If I had to pick a writer, I want to say like somebody like a Chris Claremont or Peter David or something. Somebody that like I grew up reading their stuff. I definitely like to work with. Another artist. I've been very fortunate to work with a lot of artists that I've actually admired, for years and whatnot. But I'd say somebody that I think would just be an absolute blast to work with and hopefully chat with and whatnot would be Todd McFarlane.
Spawn Man. Yeah. I mean, among other things, but Spawn.
Oh yeah. You know. But
and the Tom McFarlane action figures are a big thing nowadays.
Oh yeah. And he's such just a character in himself. Like he's just very animated, very vocal, very just he loves what he does, and he's just always got this like super positive attitude. And to me, it always comes off as genuine. So I think he'd be somebody to just sit down and just chit chat, hang out, have fun, and then like something spin out of that and turn into a project. I think that would just be a blast.
All right. Good names to throw out there. Well, we hope those people that you do hope to work with, hope that comes to fruition. Absolutely. So to kind of change things up just a little bit here, and I see a few people chiming in on the chat. Thank you very much for being with us. Rodney Fike. I wonder who that could be. Rodney, thanks for being with us. Do appreciate it, young man.
What's up, buddy?
Yeah. How are you doing, Rodney? Well, here's a question for you here, Sean. What's the funniest thing that you've seen a kid do?
Funniest thing that I've seen a kid do?
Yeah, could be a talent, could be a funny moment with them. It could be anything.
Geez, it's kind of a struggle. Like I'm thinking of like anytime I've seen kids at like cons and whatnot, and it's usually seeing them in like really killer costumes. A few years back at San Diego Comic-Con, was getting ready to, I was heading from one end of the show floor to the other, and saw a kid like in a full-on Predator costume.
Oh my!
And I want to say the kid was probably like 5, 6 at most. Like it was a really little kid, but full decked out, like movie quality Predator costume, and just like hamming it up, posing for photos with everybody that's around it. I mean, there was a crowd of people around this little kid, just taking a ton of photos. I was one of those people that stopped to take a photo because the costume was that cool. And seeing stuff like that is always just entertaining. Seeing all the kids just like eat up that atmosphere of everybody just jonesing for whatever the heck they've created or whatnot.
So I take it the kid had the claws and the spear and everything.
Oh yeah, fully decked out. And my wife just chimed in from the other room and gave me another one of. I think this was our first year at Comic-Con. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because the kid I'm going to talk about, her birthday was yesterday, and hopefully her dad will chime in at some point or see this later on. But so my wife and I always go out with our friends of ours. They're a couple, and they've got a kid. And when we went out there, this was, I think, was our first year at Comic-Con, and she was like all of 3 at most. And the con had ended. I think this was Sunday night. We're going. We got some froyo down from the convention center, and we're heading back. And my buddy and I decided we'd go out and take a picture with the big Comic-Con banner. And so we walked along the front of the convention center, stopped, got the photo. And my buddy and his wife, they each took one hand to the kid, and they were, walking back to the hotel. And the kid starts like hopping over every crack on the sidewalk as we're walking back, and just starts going, "Nerds, nerds." Every time she hopped, she would say "nerds." And we were just dying laughing. We all lost it.
Oh, well, we all have a nerd within ourselves. So you want to call us out on that, like they do on The Simpsons? Nerd, it's like, feel free to do so. Just throwing that out there. But that is a cute, funny story, man. I gotta give you credit on that one. That's a good one. So what would you say is what's the most awkward thing that happens to you on a regular basis?
I would say I don't know. I always tend to get like the weird email requests of like, somebody asking for like, say, a commission or whatever. Mm-hmm. And, it's always trying to respond and give them a realistic idea of, it's going to be X amount of time for a wait for a commission. And, there's always those few folks that just, they can't wait or whatever. And it's just, or they can't understand that it's going to take, X amount of time to do something. I'd say that's probably like the most frequent thing that'll come up is just, hey, I want to get this sketch of something, can I have it tomorrow? It's like, it's going to be a lot longer than that, but, so some folks are willing, some just, can't wrap their head on that one. So it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, serious question then. Do you count your steps?
Count my steps? Like,
Yeah, how many steps do you take every day?
No.
No.
It would probably be like 5.
Oh, 5. Not 500? Okay.
Nah.
That's I know. That's a big
I'm
number.
usually chained to the desk for most of the day. So however many steps it takes me to go from here to the kitchen, it's not gonna be many.
It's all right. It's all right. What would you say is your most unusual talent?
Remembering weird things. I can usually remember like the most mundane, silliest things, and my wife says I'm full of useless knowledge. So I'd be good at trivia, but I don't think it's going to be useful for much else.
Well, speaking of just had a bit of a curiosity factor here. Can you remember every single line from 1989's Batman or 2002 Spider-Man movie?
I can't remember every line. I can probably remember a handful, but
a handful. Okay. All right. I was just curious because you said it yourself. You've seen those particular movies so many times in a theater, or you've rewatched them over and over again. I was just curious.
Might do a little better at Goonies because I've seen that. Between Star Wars and Goonies, those are probably the movies I've seen the most over the years.
Well-known 80s properties, and for good reason.
Yes.
That's a very valid reason. I started rewatching the Goonies a few days ago. That was fun. It was fun. Yeah. I mean, it's the Goonies. What are you gonna do? Plus, I met Ki-Hai Kwan, aka Data, at a convention a few times.
That's awesome.
Very nice gentleman, by the way. Very nice guy. I was wearing my Indiana Jones outfit one day. He was like, Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones. Yeah. So he was giving me, giving me some cred for the Indiana Jones outfit that I was sporting.
That's
awesome. And then he signed a Goonies 8x10 print that I already had signed by Sean Astin from another convention. Not that one, but a different one.
I briefly met Sean Astin leaving a convention a couple of years ago.
Really?
The actress that was standing next to him, I have no idea who she was. She had a funny little like French bulldog, and I just asked if I could stop and pet the dog as I was leaving the con.
Okay, there you go. There's another interesting encounter within a convention hall.
Yeah, everything happens at conventions. I don't know.
Oh yeah, there's been some wonderful things. There's been some. I mean, you're going to get a slice of everything at a convention. It doesn't matter who you meet, where you go, which way you turn in that convention hall. There's always something to do and always someone to see.
Oh yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. For those of us who have been to numerous conventions over the years, there's always something for everybody.
Yeah, and then I always have the habit of being in that right place, right time at a lot of these things. Going back to the thing with the convention stories, I went to take a bunch of Comic-Con exclusives back to the hotel room a few years back, go to get on the elevator, and Kevin Smith's right behind me. And then he stopped to take photos with a bunch of folks.
Jeez. Talk about right. That is definitely a case of right place, right time.
Yeah.
Gee whiz. The Kevin Smith, the Clerks guy? My God.
I ended up getting a photo with him too. I was actually the one taking the photos for everybody because everybody was trying to do the whole selfie thing, holding the phone out, and I'm like, just give me the phone, I'll take the photo. And Kevin Smith was a trooper, man. He stopped for at least a handful, and the elevator doors finally opened, and I'm like, dude, come on, get on. And he's like, nope. He stuck around and took photos with everybody that came up. I mean, dude's full on just there for all the fans.
Well, that is somebody I hope to meet at a later date and when conventions actually reopen and Earth reopens.
Yes.
Please do it sooner rather than later. Pandemic, get out of here. We are definitely, I'm not going to say the first word, but I am going to say the second word. We are tired of it.
Yes.
We're tired of it. Get out of here. But anyway, anywho, I should say, what projects do you have coming up that you can tell us about?
I've got another issue of the webtoon coming out. It's called Megamorphosis Heroes. I'm currently finishing up colors on issue 4. So 1 through 3 should be available currently on webtoons. And they just launched a Kickstarter, I believe, last night for doing some future issues. So that is up and running. The book that my wife and I did, we launched Kickstarter a few months back. Scarlet's Field Guide, Cryptids and Other Creatures. We're going to have that hopefully shipping out in March. I've got another project in the works I can't quite mention yet, but it will be coming out very soon. And then we've seemed to pretty consistently have some new like Do You Poo books and Hardly Thin and things like that coming out that I'm usually working on the covers, doing the coloring and whatnot. One of those just came out. It's a Darth Poo, so it's a Poo done up as Darth Vader. That launched last night.
Wow, I've seen Winnie the Pooh in certain adventures and whatnot, but never as a Sith Lord.
Yeah, it's up on Facebook if you want to check it out. It's quite comical, so it's there for everybody to take a look at.
Yeah, well, now that you've described it for me as well as the audience watching this, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. So giddy up, my man. That is good stuff. Well, as we wrap up here, where can everyone find you on social media and all the projects you have coming up?
So most all of my social media is at Sean Forney Art. It's SeanForneyArt. And my Facebook page had to be different, so that one's Sean Forney Illustration. But if you go to one of them, should have links to all the rest. And website's just SeanForney.com. And we try to keep it updated as best as we can.
All right. Sounds like a plan. Well, we want to take this opportunity to thank Sean Forney for joining us this week on the interview series. In fact, Sean, you have the honor, nay, the privilege of being our final guest for the interview series. This is our last episode of the interview series for the year of 2020. So this is a spectacular way to wrap us up. So thank you for being with us. You can find me. My name is Ryan. Everything we're doing here at Nerd Culture, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. New videos are dropping each and every week on our YouTube channel, so check us out there. Go to threadless.nerdculture.com. We got some new threads up there, new swagger. You want to buy yourself something for yourself, for your family, your friends, your coworkers, what have you. Check us out. It's online. Also, check us out on HWWS Web TV. You can catch episodes of our shows as well as episodes of Battle of the Nerds, where we put two competitors in the ring each week, and we have them face off in a random trivia category. Yes, we want to know how smart they are, so we put them to the ultimate test. So don't miss out on that. In the meantime, if you're wondering where those questions came from, what's the funniest thing you've seen a kid do, what is your most unusual talent, I'll tell you where those came from. This episode is powered by Poddex. Poddex are unique interview questions and episode starting prompts in the palm of your own hand. So whether you're a new podcaster, existing podcaster, looking to grow your audience or get more engagement, you're going to want to check out poddex.com. Use the promo code NERDCULTURE to get 10% off your order. So go to poddex.com. Use the promo code NERDCULTURE, 10% off your order. You are not going to be disappointed. You're going to like the way these deck of cards are used. I guarantee it. Other than that, thank you for joining us. In the meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong. Happy holidays and Happy New Year. Have a good one, everyone.